Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Beaver Local going into the second round, the Sweet 16 of Division 4, Region 13. Saturday night, they have a date with East Cleveland Shaw in the eastern suburbs of the great city of Cleveland. And to talk about the Beaver Local East Cleveland Shaw game, we bring in the head football coach of the Beaver Local Beavers, Mike Mckenzie. Coach Mack, how are you today, sir?
Good. How are we doing today?
Doing wonderful. Doing wonderful. How familiar or comfortable was it to play a familiar face in round one? You guys saw Minerva earlier in the year. You were able to beat them convincingly in the regular season and did so in the first round of the playoffs, knocking off the Lions 53-14. Was there a comfort level knowing that you're taking on a team that was not a stranger in the first round of the playoffs?
No, not really. I'll be honest. It was the same that we've had every week. It was the same preparation. The kids had the same mentality. They'd shown some different offenses and defense than what we'd seen the first time, and in fact, they came out in the game and gave us another offense that we hadn't seen them run. And it took us a series to adapt to that. And it was a different feeling game. You know, the first game we returned the opening kickoff and for a touchdown, and I think by the time the end of the first quarter, that first game, it was like 28-0 or something. This game was a tougher battle. We really, the last minute of the first half was when we first minute and a half, we stopped them, got the ball in about the 8, and ran a jailbreak screen to Dylan Moore, and he scored from 92 yards out, and kicked off. They turned the ball over, and first play we threw a vertical to Caleb White, so we put 2 touchdowns on there in about 40 seconds at the end of the first half that kind of gave us that cushion. But it was a tougher fought game, and but we had no difference. There was no difference this last week than there was any other week.
Coach, would you have preferred a bye in the first round, or were you all ready to play again? Which would, if you were given the choice, which one would you have preferred, to play week 1 or to have the bye?
Hindsight being 2020, I'd have preferred to bye because we lost a couple starters to injury. So I guess that we'd have probably preferred to bye so that we knew we were healthy going into the game, which we are not. So other than that, it's nice to stay in your rhythm. We were able to stay in rhythm and stuff, but we did incur some injuries, so that was the negatives to having to play, and would have been the positive to having a bye.
Coach, are they available for the game Saturday night against East Cleveland Shaw?
Most likely not.
All right, so you guys will journey into the eastern suburb of Cleveland to take on East Cleveland Shaw. Let's talk a little bit about this program. What sticks out when you saw them on film? What sticks out about East Cleveland Shaw that impresses you the most, Coach?
Their defense. Their defense is for real. It's amazing. I've never in 20-some years of coaching watched. We had 5 films on them, and in every single film, they had the opponent 3rd and 18 or more multiple times every single game. They generate a lot of their stuff off of their defense. They're a very explosive defense. When the City League shut down, when Cleveland Glenville shut down, they had a number of kids transfer there, so they have 8 starters on their defense that came over from Glenville from last year. So. They have speed. This will be our first matchup of the year that we haven't had a speed advantage, that a team's going to be able to match our speed. And they generate a ton of negative plays. They have a defensive end that's had 17 sacks and 20 tackles for losses. And so it's going to be a different game plan for us than what we're used to. We're going to have to be a lot more patient. We're going to have to make sure that we stay out of negative plays, and as we talk to our kids, we got to stay on schedule. So gaining first downs, being ball control, being methodical, and punts are going to be all right for us this week.
Are they disciplined enough to not fall into the trap of misdirection on defense, Coach?
They are more disciplined. Their linebackers do a nice job of reading linemen. And they have enough speed that they take away some of those reverses, and some of the teams have tried to do that. Teams have tried to run reverses and some of those types of plays, and they shut it down pretty well. And just about any time someone's run a reverse, it's ended up in a major loss. So, like I said, we just got to stay on schedule and know that, when we get into those third and, there's times that a punt's going to be okay this week.
How do you neutralize speed? I mean, do you just pound the rock and hope and pray that you wear them down that way?
We're gonna, we got some things. You got to change tempo. You got to do some different things in that nature. Give some, formations and things like that, and just what you call play calling. You got to be sure. You got to know where you're at, where the field position is, and recognize those things.
You're going to be staying on artificial turf. East Cleveland Shaw does have the turf, and Beaver Local, you're number one of the turf. And, talk a little bit about, you have a hometown kid in Derek Wolfe, who's now playing in the National Football League. He was a longtime Denver Bronco, now a member of the Baltimore Ravens. And he played his high school football and was really good at Beaver Local High School, obviously. Talk about the rare opportunity of having a alumni of Beaver Local as a member of the National Football League, and how much Derek Wolfe means to Beaver Local High School with some of the things that he has done for the football program.
I just think that, both Derek and Jamin, you can't forget Jamin. Jamin was also very involved, was a very successful football player here, went on to college and came out of Duke with a very good degree, and has put that to use in the financial world. And so kids see that and see the ability to have success there, and then they look at Derek and see the success that he's had in the National Football League. So that those things are possible if you have that talent. But more than just being able to go to the NFL, I think it just shows the kids that if you have the drive, that whatever your skill set fits, if you have that NFL ability, or if you have that mental capacity that Jamin had, and you can be successful wherever you're at. And so just to see the success that those two gentlemen have after they've left the walls here, provide some motivation for our kids, and just to see what's capable for them when they leave here.
Mike Mckenzie, the head football coach of the Beaver Local Beavers, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. I've, as a Columbiana County resident for most of my life, I sit back and I've said on many occasions that Columbiana County does not get the press that Mahoning or Trumbull County gets. And here's a great example. Beaver Local might be the best program, or one of the best football programs that, frankly, not many people have heard about because of the fact that we're nestled in Columbiana County. But the truth of the matter is, Beaver Local has been a solid Division IV program for a number of years. You guys are building quite a tradition over in Beaver Local.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're in a unique position. I think, us in Liverpool and Lisbon, we're kind of those in between. You get a little bit of coverage from the teams down into the Ohio Valley, but we're kind of at the northern end of that, and then we're kind of at the very southern end of those coverage of Youngstown in that area. But so yeah, I mean, we probably don't get the press, but we don't really. That's not anything that we talk about or concern ourselves with. We're trying to go day by day and do the best that we can each day, so that when we leave the field, we're the best possible team we can be at the end of that day. And we do that day to day, week to week, and try to stack those things together. And whatever happens, that you've controlled what you can control. So that's our big theme, is making sure we can control what we can control, and that's our effort and our attitude.
You make a long trip to the eastern suburbs of Cleveland to take on East Cleveland Shaw on Saturday night. What is the itinerary for you guys in terms of when you're going to leave? Do you make a full day of this? How are you guys going to approach the long trip?
Like we do every other one. I mean, when we traveled to Barnesville, that was about an hour and 45-minute trip. So similar, we're going to go. We have charter buses, but other than that, we'll leave here about 3 o'clock. Our ideal is to pull in there right around 5. Being that we're going dressed, we don't need a lot of time there. We'll get taped, and our first group will be out around 5:30, 5:35. So it's a business trip for us. We're having the same approach that we've had for the last 7 weeks.
Charter bus is so much better than a school bus, Coach.
Oh yeah, that is the nice thing. That'll be the biggest difference for us.
Hey, Coach, always a pleasure. Good luck in your game against East Cleveland Shaw, and hopefully we'll see Beaver Local in the quarterfinals next Saturday night.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome, sir. Mike Mckenzie, the head football coach of the Beaver Local Beavers.